Lamour, and welcome to my channel, Boundless Books. So today I'm going to actually do something that I've never done on my channel before, and that is a book haul video. So typically I don't buy books too far in advance of actually reading them because I tend to be kind of fickle and I don't want to buy a book and then find out in a month or so when I'm actually ready to pick it up and read it that I'm no longer interested. But that being said, this past month I actually collected a number of really interesting books, and today I thought I would share them with you guys. So this past weekend when I was out roaming around the neighborhood playing Pokemon Go, because yes, I am one of those nerds who's been addicted to playing that game, I stumbled across a used bookstore and picked up 3 different books that I think are all really interesting. So the first book that I picked up is Tiger's Curse by Colleen Houck. I have contemplated buying this book a number of times. I've seen it on Amazon and Goodreads recommended to me, but for some reason, I don't know, it never seemed like the right time. Recently, I've been into reading fantasy or historical books, and a portion of this is set in contemporary times. But when I saw it at the used bookstore, I knew it was meant to be and that I had to purchase it. And before I dive into a brief description of what this is about, can we just talk about how pretty the cover of this is? Also, when you take off the dust jacket, it is all holographic and cool. So this is the start of a series that follows a young woman who's living in Oregon and gets roped into breaking a 300-year-old Indian curse, along with the aid of a tiger named Ren. I don't really know too much more about the series beyond that, except that there are 4 books in total in the series, so I really hope that I like this because this will keep me occupied for a while. The next book that I picked up at the used bookstore is Arcadia by Iain Pears. I think it's really interesting that I ran across this book when I did because in one of my previous videos I was just talking about another one of his books that I love, Instance of the Finger Post. So I'll include a link to that right over here where you guys can check that out. I love that book. It's really intricate and detailed, and it has a lot of cool things going on with multiple perspectives. And it sounds like there might be some of that going on in this book, so I'm really intrigued. So the synopsis of this book sounds a little convoluted, but knowing Iain Pears, he'll do a good job with it. It follows a young professor who's trying to write a fantasy novel and ends up befriending his neighbor, who is a young woman named Rosie. Rosie one day stumbles across a small trap door in the cellar of the professor and goes through the door and discovers this magical, idyllic land where storytellers are revered. The synopsis of this book reminds me a little bit of Being John Malkovich, which I love. It's such a quirky story. I also love that this is dealing with multiple worlds, and the synopsis also mentions a little bit about the past impacting the future. I think there's going to be a lot going on in this novel, and I'm very excited. And then the last book that I picked up at the used bookstore is Black Trillium by 3 different authors, Marion, Zimmer, Bradley, Julian May, and Andre Norton. Can't believe I actually said them all right. My memory is improving. So I've heard of all these authors, and I've read a few books by all of them, so I'm intrigued to see that they're all collaborating on this novel, which has an interesting premise. It follows 3 different princesses, and each princess is written by a different author. This has the potential to either be a hot mess and then very disjointed, or very cool. And while sadly the used bookstore didn't have the others in the series, there are more books, so if I do like this, I can continue on. The next book that I want to talk about is a book that I actually requested an advanced reader copy of through NetGalley, and it is called A Wizard's Forge by A.M. Justice, which is, I gotta say, a pretty badass pen name. This book actually has a very interesting premise. It combines both science fiction and fantasy elements. It follows a young woman named Victoria, or Vic as she's referred to, who lives on a planet that is populated by the descendants of Earth. At the beginning of the novel, she is torn from her people and suffers psychological abuse from her captors. She eventually escapes and remakes herself as a warrior. However, when somebody that she loves is captured, Vic discovers that she has powers that science cannot explain. So I'm really interested to see how the author handles both these sci-fi and fantasy elements. I think it could be extremely cool if done well. I know the author Lindsay Buroker does some really cool stuff with that in her novels, so I'm hoping this novel is similar. And then the last book that I want to talk about is the book Fallen Angel by David Lamour. David was actually kind enough to reach out to me to see if I wanted to read this book, and I said, definitely, please send it my way. This is a YA paranormal novel, and it follows a young woman named Evelyn. Her life is uprooted after her parents' death when she is forced to move from her very urban life in New York City to a rural town in Montana. There she discovers that angels and demons exist, and she is drawn to this demonic boy. I've read a number of really good YA books that deal with angels and demons recently. A couple that come to mind are Angel Fall by Susan E., which was really unexpectedly awesome. I'm also a huge fan of Immortal Rules by by Julie Kagwa. So I'm pretty darn excited to read this book, and I will be reporting back to you guys on what I think. And I'll definitely let you guys know what I think of all these books, so definitely stay tuned for a future video where I give you my full review. But in the meantime, if you want to kind of stay up to date with what I think of these, you can follow me on Goodreads. I'm trying to be good about writing my reviews and rating these right after I finish reading them. So please be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you are new to my channel, definitely make sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on my latest content. And until next time, my name is Laura, and thank you guys for watching. Bye! Hi, my name is Laura Shut up! You're killing me! I want to get through this intro. Shut up. Okay. You sit over there laughing! Shh! You're the worst.